ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुर्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपकदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरुः श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्त राधा कान्त नमस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगे राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमः विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिन्निति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। जय श्री प्रभुपाद की जय। शुद्ध भक्ति चिंतामणि। Yesterday, pure devotional service defined, and Srila Prabhupada's summary is given, and we should see what contains overall. It is the conclusion of the analysis of pure devotional service as Rupa Goswami has defined. So far we have been given hint in the true glories of the pure devotional service, and the essence of these chapters we should get from this very conclusive and precise remarks of Srila Prabhupada in his own words, that he connects the definition of pure devotional service to the practice of and preaching of Krishna consciousness. Everything what we are doing according to his direction is perfect. As we can understand from Bhagavad Gita, 9th chapter, 34th verse, and 18th chapter, 65th verse, the Supreme Personality of Godhead wants everyone to think of him always. Manmana mad bhakto madhyajiman namaskaru. And everyone should become his devotee, not the devotee of the demigod. Everyone should engage in his devotional service, including archana, deity worship in the temple. Manmana bhava and madbhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru. Everyone should offer obeisances from the moment to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. These are the desires of the Supreme Lord, and one who fulfills his desires favorably is actually a pure devotee. Krishna wants everyone to surrender to him, and devotional service means preaching this gospel all over the world. The Lord says openly in Bhagavad Gita, in chapter 69th verse, Nachatasman manusheshu kashin me priyakritama. One who preaches the gospel of Bhagavad Gita for the benefit of all is most dear to Krishna. Bhagavad Gita is spoken by the Lord so that human society can be perfectly organized from all angles of vision, politically, socially, economically, philosophically, and religiously. From any point of view, human society can be reformed by Krishna consciousness movement. Therefore, one who spreads this philosophy of Krishna consciousness for the benefit of all conditioned souls in the universe is perfect in the pure devotional service. That is one important reason that we are also trying to spread Krishna consciousness in Thailand. Of course, anywhere else, we also encourage. I have jurisdiction to encourage my disciples immediately. Then extensively, I can encourage also disciples of other gurus. But this is the conclusion that Jare dekha tare kaha Krishna upadesh hamare agya guru natai rahi desh. This means not only little tract of land, but all over the world. We have to liberate the people. Tar yehi desh also means just like a living entity is an individual, the country is also an individual. But every country where all the subjects are part and parcel of Lord Shri Krishna, so the whole country will be liberated. So one who preaches the glories of Lord Krishna, he is most dear to Lord Shri Krishna. Bhagavad Gita is spoken by the Lord so the human society can be perfectly organized. All the aspects of political, social, economical, geographically, and religiously perfectly organized. So from any point of view, human society can be reformed, right? The criterion is that a devotee must know that Krishna wants what Krishna wants him to do. This understanding can be achieved through the medium of the spiritual master, who is a bona fide representative of Krishna. Srila Rupa Goswami advises Adu Guru Ashrayam. One who is serious in wanting to render pure devotional service to the Lord must take shelter of the spiritual master who comes in disciplic succession from Krishna. Evam parampara praptam But our semblance in devotional service continues even after initiation. But the very first purpose of getting initiation is to become perfect. By application of Krishna consciousness and serving Krishna's desire, all over the world. That constitutes pure devotional service, but we should refrain from all these abhasi elements and try to remain spec pure in our dealings in benefit of Lord Shri Krishna. So, the first business of pure devotee is to satisfy his spiritual master. Whose only business is to spread Krishna consciousness. And if one can satisfy the spiritual master, Krishna is automatically satisfied. Yasya prasadat bhagavad prasada. And it is successful. That means the word anukulyana, that is favorable devotional service to Lord Krishna. A pure devotee has no plans other than those for the Lord's service. He is not interested in attaining success in mundane activities. He simply wants success in progress of devotional service. For a devotee, there cannot be worship other than demigod worship. A pure devotee does not engage himself in such pseudo-devotional service. He is interested only in satisfying Krishna. If one lives only for the satisfaction of Krishna, it does not matter whether he belongs to this order of life or other order of life. One's only business should be to satisfy Krishna. Samsiddhim haritoshanam. This process is completely manifested in activities of Krishna consciousness movement. It has been actually proved that the entire world can accept devotional service without failure. One simply has to follow the instructions of the representatives of Krishna. This has been spoken in Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela, 19th chapter, 167 verse. Perfect. Now we enter into the subject matter of qualification for advancement in pure devotional service. श्रद्धावन जन है भक्ति अधिकारी उत्तम मध्यम कनिष्ठ श्रद्धा अनुसारी. A faithful devotee is fully eligible candidate for loving devotional service of the Lord. According to one's faith, one is classified as a topmost devotee, as an intermediate devotee, or an inferior devotee. This is in Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela, 27th chapter, 64th verse. So, we are entering into chapter 8. This is the qualification for advancement in pure devotional service. We have to pick up ourselves from the point of that we are eligible for conducting pure devotional service. But let's check what do we need more for advancing in Krishna consciousness. As shown in previous chapter, Rupa Goswami and other Vaishnava scholars have proven that pure devotion cannot be awakened by any material means. The paths of speculative knowledge, fruitive work, renunciation, austerity, and charity may help a person to accumulate piety, and piety may fructify as temporary heavenly enjoyment or a kind of liberation. But the piety alone cannot qualify a person for devotion to Krishna. Only pure faith can qualify a devotee for pure devotion. Thus, there is no alternative to developing pure faith. Yadrashi Shraddha Siddhir Bhavati Tadrashi. So, Shraddha Bhas, Shraddha Pratibimbabhas, and Shraddha Chayabhas. We have seen so many categories. So, what it requires is pure faith. Otherwise, it's abhasi faith. Only pure faith can qualify a devotee for pure devotion. Thus, there is no alternative to developing pure faith. Amazingly, by the influence of great Vaishnavas invested with extraordinary power, this pure faith may appear even in the hearts of persons still infested with material desires. In the Nectar of Devotion, Srila Prabhupada writes, on account of his association with Mahatmas, or the great souls, 100% in the devotional service of the Lord, one may attain a little bit of attraction for Sri Krishna, but at the same time, one may remain very much attached to fruitive activities and material sense enjoyment and not be prepared to undergo the different types of renunciation. Such a person, if he has unflinching attraction to Krishna, becomes an eligible candidate for discharging devotional service. One doesn't have to go through different types of renunciation to cultivate pure faith. Only unflinching attraction to Krishna becomes eligible candidate for discharging devotional service. This is in Nectar of Devotion, chapter 3, page number 29. So, according to our surrender to Lord Krishna, we can discharge our services to Lord Krishna, and with pure faith, it will generate pure faith. Faith begets faith. So pure faith begets pure faith. Pure faith doesn't give other alternatives. No. Pure faith is there. It will be preached with pure faith. Naturally, a person will be impressed and he will accept the pure faith. Although unwanted desires, anarthas may remain in the presence of pure faith, devotees should not neglect the root, neglect to root them out. There are many varieties of unwanted desires, as there are persons infested with them. But the scriptures and Vaishnavas have classified them according to the common characteristics. Careful and purposeful practice of Krishna consciousness purifies devotees of unwanted desires and steadiness in their faith. The detailed study of these anarthas and how they are purified appeared in the later chapters. Three levels of qualification of pure devotional service. Unflinching attraction to Krishna, which even in the process of material desires leave aside karma and jnana and all other paths, is called pure faith. Unflinching attraction to Krishna. This is given in Amnaya Sutra of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, 57th verse. Unflinching attraction to Krishna, which even in the presence of material desires, aside karma and jnana and all other paths, that is called pure faith. Devotees who have such faith are called adhikaris, eligible candidate for pure devotion. As pointed out in chapter 2, such faith is weaker or stronger depending on each devotee's degree of confidence in and the knowledge of revealed scriptures. Therefore, Rupa Goswami has categorized devotees' eligibility for engaging in the activities of pure devotional service in terms of strength of their faith and knowledge. He divides devotees into three groups: topmost, intermediate, and inferior. This is given in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, first canto, second chapter, 16, 17, and 18 and 19 verses are there. The devotee with the topmost qualification, Uttamadhikari, is defined as follows: Shastre yuktau cha naipunyaha sarvatha dhrada nishchayaha praudha shraddho adhikari yah sabhakto uttamamataha. One who is expert in logic and understanding the revealed scriptures, and who always has firm conviction and deep faith that is not blind, is to be considered a topmost devotee in devotional service. Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, first canto, second chapter, 17th verse. In the next two verses, Rupa defines the devotee of intermediate qualification, Madhyamadhikari, as one who is not well versed in the scriptures or arguments, but who has firm faith, and the devotee with the lowest qualification, Kanishtadhikari, as one who has little knowledge and weak faith. Yah shastradishu anipunna Shraddhavan Sattu Madhyamaha means he who does not know scriptural arguments very well, but who has firm faith in, is called intermediate or second-class devotee. Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, first canto, second chapter, 18th verse. Yo bhavet komal shraddhaha sa kanishthon nigadyate. One whose faith is not very strong, who is just beginning, should be considered a neophyte devotee. This is also in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, first canto, second chapter, 19th verse. Consider this example. Suppose three youths applied to a university and test fair, good, and excellent on their entrance exams. The university dean will consider each applicant differently. The one who scored fair, he might think, is hardly qualified for this university. At least he will need serious tutoring to get through his first year. With a little help, and one who scored good marks has potential to get his bachelor degree. But the third one, with the excellent marks, has marking of a PhD candidate. In short, the student's prior learning indicates their aptitude for university study, as well as the degree of additional help they may need to complete the graduation requirement. The analysis of faith and learning in devotees is similar. Those with weak faith and no knowledge, and those with firm faith and little knowledge, are not qualified as advanced devotional service, as are the devotees with the deep faith and comprehensive knowledge. Eventually, the devotees with low and intermediate qualification must come to topmost standard, the one that qualifies them for love of Krishna. If they do not, they remain at the stages of advancement for which they are eligible. Krishnadas Kaviraj says, Shraddhavan jana hai bhakti adhikari uttama madhya kanishta shraddha anusari. A faithful devotee is truly eligible candidate for the loving service of the Lord. According to one's faith, one is classified as the topmost devotee, as an intermediate devotee, or an inferior devotee. This is in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Leela, 22nd chapter, 64th verse. Do you think this is a discrimination between one kind of devotee and other kind of devotee? Discrimination is based on the kind of Shraddha. If somebody gets agitated, not knowing the Shastric conclusion, they may become agnostic and will go away. Many worshippers of the demigods, they do not know who is the Supreme Personality of Godhead and what is his desire. So naturally, those who do not have deep faith or the faith on a singular supreme worshipable object, that is Krishna, then the categorization would be there. But amongst even the worshippers of Krishna, we see they love Krishna because of external features. It's very difficult to know Krishna for them through cultivation of divinity. There's a great difference in that. We want to encourage everyone to rise above their, say, primary or rudimentary faith, which is kind of a residual. Oh, we like Krishna, but we don't know about him. So we are supposed to preach them. Compared to the above three classes of devotees, it is evident that the four pious men described in Krishna hardly qualify for pure devotional service. That is in Bhagavad Gita, 7th chapter, 16th verse. Chaturvidha bhajante mam. Why? Because they do not accept that they should serve Krishna simply to please him. Rather, they serve Krishna to please themselves. Only after they acquire pure faith do they become qualified for pure devotion. And just to satisfy Lord Krishna alone, to please Krishna alone, not himself even. So one has to gradually rise from Kanishtha-adhikari to Uttama-adhikari. Readers may determine their own qualification of pure devotion by applying the above definition to themselves as well as by studying Srila Prabhupada's purport to these verses. Readers should also know that in order to perfect their Krishna consciousness, they must acquire and cultivate the highest qualification for pure devotion. Bhaktivinoda Thakur correlates the stage of advancement of devotees passed through their progressive eligibility. He states that Kanishtha-adhikari qualifies devotees to practice ultimately devotion, Madhyam-adhikari to practice steady devotion, and Uttama-adhikari to practice taste and attachment, ecstasy, and love. This is in Bhakti Tattva Vivek, 4th chapter, 41st verse. So, if you want to become Uttama-adhikari, to practice the taste, attachment, ecstasy, and love. That is ruchi, asakti, bhav, and prema. These are the subject matter after liberation from bodily conception of life. As long as we have bodily conception of life in that much degree, our status of adhikar. Status means adhikar for pure devotional service can be defined. Material attachment could the heart of neophytes cloud the hearts of neophytes. These impurities do not disqualify them from taking up pure devotional practices, but they do make advancement difficult. To renounce their attachment to sense gratification and liberation, beginners must raise their qualification by deepening their faith in and knowledge of revealed scriptures. Those who fail to do so will fall into bad association and fall down from Krishna consciousness. The best insurance against such a disaster is for them to hear regularly from more advanced devotees. The intermediate devotees are above the neophyte, yet intermediate devotees must also improve themselves by systematically studying scriptures and associating with the devotees of higher qualifications than themselves. Otherwise, they risk making a little or no spiritual progress. Fortunately, the intermediate devotees have more taste for devotional practice and than the neophytes, which makes the challenge for advancing easier and more relishable for them. Referring to the neophytes and intermediate devotees, Srila Prabhupada writes, conviction and faith gradually increase to make one an Uttamadhikari, the highly qualified first-class devotee. In Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela, 22nd chapter, 71st verse, purport. Intermediate devotees must also improve themselves by systematically studying scriptures and associating with the devotees of higher qualification than themselves. Otherwise, they risk making little or no spiritual progress. Referring to neophyte and intermediate devotees, Srila Prabhupada writes, conviction and faith gradually increases to make one an Uttamadhikari, a highly qualified first-class devotee. 22nd chapter Madhya Leela of Chaitanya Charitamrita, 71st verse and purport. Yeah. The most qualified devotees have the greatest taste for bhakti, and therefore they quickly and fearlessly advance an ultimate goal of life. Only those Uttamadhikaris have become qualified to reach Krishna. Of such a devotee, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami writes, he can deliver the whole world. Sai tare samsara. This is in Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela, 22nd chapter, 65th verse. Three levels of advancement in devotion. Just as eligibility of practicing devotees is defined by one of the three levels of faith and knowledge, so the advancement or devotees in general is defined by these three levels of attachment and love: positive, comparative, and superlative. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu describes this to Sanatana Goswami. A devotee is considered superlative or superior according to his attachment and love. Rati prema taratyame bhakta taratama. Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela, 22nd chapter, 71st verse. Taratamya. रति प्रेम तारतम्ये भक्त तारतम. Superlative devotee. He has attachment and love. The Taratamya Bhakta can deliver everyone. Taratama means he is constituting the highest category. This is in Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela, 22nd chapter, 71st verse. The neophyte's love for Krishna is compromised by material considerations. Therefore, Sri Havi calls them materialistic devotees and describes them as follows. Acharyam eva haraye pujam yaha shraddhayadyate na tad bhakteshu chanyeshu sa bhakta prakrita smrtaha. A prakrit bhakta or materialistic devotee does not purposefully study the Shastra and try to understand the actual standard of pure devotional service. Consequently, he does not show proper respects to advanced devotees. However, he may follow the regulative principles learned from his spiritual master or from his family who worships the deity. He is to be considered on the material platform, although he is trying to advance in devotional service. Such a person is a bhakta praya, a neophyte devotee, or bhakta abhas, for he is a little enlightened by Vaishnava philosophy. This is in Srimad Bhagavatam 11th canto, 2nd chapter, 47th verse. This translation of Srimad Bhagavatam of this 47th verse is from Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela, 22nd chapter, 74th verse. Jiva Goswami cites the famous verses beginning with Yasyatma Buddhihi. An example of a neophyte allusion to this verse, that is number 1, Srimad Bhagavatam 10th canto 84th chapter 13th verse is quoted in Bhakti Sandarbha Anucheda 190. Yasyatma buddhi kunapetri dhatuke. In this verse, devotees who strongly identify themselves with their bodies are compared to the cows and asses. Sayeva Gokhara. Sometimes neophytes are so attracted to karma, jnana, and yoga. When such an attraction is very strong and impedes their progress, such neophytes are called a semblance of a devotee, bhakti abhas. As stated above, however, if advanced devotees give the neophytes their association, the beginners will in time become transcendental to mixed devotional activity. Then they will rise to the intermediate stage. Srimad Bhagavatam describes devotees at intermediate stage of advancement, the Madhyam Bhakta as follows. Ishvare tad adhineshu balisheshu dvishastu sa prema maitri kripopeksha sa karoti samadhyamaha. An intermediate or second-class devotee offers his love to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is a sincere friend to all the devotees of the Lord, shows mercy to the ignorant people who are innocent, and disregards those who are envious of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is in Srimad Bhagavatam, 11th canto, 2nd chapter, 46th verse. This is Samadhyamaha, intermediate devotee. Intermediate devotees, Madhyama Bhaktas, love the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and because of their advanced knowledge, they understand the importance and maintenance of friendship with the Lord's devotees. They show mercy to the neophytes by giving them as much guidance and devotional service as the beginners are willing to accept, and they neglect those who are averse to Krishna consciousness or envious of Vaishnavas. These are the traits of Vaishnava preachers. We have studied this part in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu previously. So many things are understood easily. Jiva Goswami cites the following prayer by Prahlad Maharaj to depict the mood of an intermediate devotee preacher. O best of the great personalities, I am not at all afraid of material existence, for wherever I stay, I am fully absorbed in thoughts of your glories and activities. My concern is only for the fools and rascals who are making elaborate plans for material happiness and maintaining their families, societies, and countries. I am deeply concerned with love for them. This is in Srimad Bhagavatam, 7th canto, 9th chapter, 43rd verse, as quoted in Bhakti Sandarbha Anuchhed 189. This is Prahlad Maharaj's prayers. That he wants to stay amongst these neophytes, so he can preach for Lord's pleasure. When devotees with such mood qualify themselves further and become expert in logic and scripture, in time, by Krishna's mercy, they become most advanced in devotion, superlative. Then they come to feel an intimate relationship with all the living entities whom they see as integral part of the Lord. Finally, Srimad Bhagavatam glorifies the most advanced devotees, Uttamadhikari. Sarva bhuteshu yaha pashyed bhagavad bhavam atmanah bhutani bhagavatya atmani esha bhagavatottamaha. The most advanced devotee sees within everything the soul of the all souls, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Shri Krishna. Consequently, he sees systematically everything in relation to the Supreme Lord and understand that everything that exists is eternally situated within the Lord. That is Srimad Bhagavatam, 11th canto, 2nd chapter, 45th verse. That means Tattvadarshi. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita to Arjun, Na punarmoham evam yasasi pandava etanya bhutanya asheshani drakshas atmanyatho mayi. Like that. Consequently, he sees systematically everything in relationship to the Supreme Lord and understand that everything that exists is eternally situated within the Lord. This also satisfies the Om Purnamidam definition. The great devotees, Mahabhagavata's vision is not to simply theoretical, but is a consequence of eyes anointed with the sal of love for Krishna. Premanjana Charita Bhakti Vilochanena. This is Brahma Samhita, 5th chapter, 38th verse. When Prahlad Maharaj's father Hiranyakashipu asked Prahlad where the Lord Vishnu was living, the boy saint replied that the Lord was everywhere, even in the pillar of the palace. In disbelief, the demon struck the pillar to substantiate that the Uttam Bhakta saw him everywhere, Krishna in the form of Nrsingadev appeared from the pillar and killed Hiranyakashipu. Less advanced devotees often misunderstand the vision of Mahabhagavatas, thinking that such great souls are Krishna's form at the very moment. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explains the special significance of the word pashyat, one must see. In this verse quoted above, the Acharya says that pure devotees are at the stage at which they are able to see Krishna's form at will. But it is not that they literally see Krishna's form at every moment. Otherwise, if only those who see Krishna's form constantly are topmost devotees, then Narada Vyasa and Sukadeva Goswami, who did not always see the Lord's physical form, would be inferior. This conclusion would be false. We should understand that the qualification of the great devotees is their overwhelming desire to see Krishna. Srila Prabhupada would often explain that when the topmost devotees see a tree, they do not see the tree transformed into Krishna's form, but they see the tree and everything else for that matter in relation to Krishna. When they see the tree, they think immediately of Krishna. It is in this sense that they see Krishna constantly. As explained earlier, Jiva Goswami points out that when the topmost devotees preach, they act on intermediate platform of advancement. In this way, they can distinguish those who are eligible for the devotion from those who are not. However, the topmost devotees also retain their vision for Krishna as all-pervading, and this sets them apart from intermediate devotees not so advanced. I'll be stopping at 8:30 today because I have to give another class on Srila Prabhupada's glories. So I won't be able to entertain question or comments today. Of course, this chapter is easily understood because we are supposed to be trained in the perfect process. We can't remain in neophyte. This is quite elaborately explained that Srila Prabhupada gave the highest opportunity to become Uttamadhikari. We can't keep on staying in Madhyam level. What to speak of remaining neophyte even after taking initiation for more than 10 years? So, as explained earlier, Jiva Goswami points out that when the topmost devotees preach, they act on the intermediate platform of advancement. In this way, they can distinguish those who are eligible for devotion from those who are not. However, the topmost devotees also retain their vision of Krishna as all-pervading, and this sets them apart from intermediate devotee and not so advanced. Mahabhagavatas may be also recognized by their extraordinary ability to spread Krishna consciousness. Srila Prabhupada is perfect example of such topmost devotee preacher because Krishna blessed him with such supernatural power. Prabhupada inspired and gave success to intermediate devotees, empowered them to also elevate neophytes to the intermediate platform. Out of love for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, for whom he would go to hell. Srila Prabhupada engaged all grades of devotees in preaching work. He thus successfully purified the polluted mentality of many souls who falsely thought this world is to be separate from Krishna. Prabhupada wrote a letter to Jadurani in New Vrindavan, 4th September 1972. The most advanced devotee is ideal because he or she is fully under the shelter of Krishna's divine potency, Devi Prakriti. As many of the Krishna's transcendental qualities as a living entity can display, that may develop fully in the superlative Vaishnavas. Positive and comparative devotees also develop such qualities, but to much lesser degree. Krishnadas Kaviraj cites Lord Chaitanya's description of the 26 transcendental qualities of a pure Vaishnava. Kripalu akrodha droha satyasar sama nidosha vadanya mrudu suchi akinchana सर्वोपकारक शांत कृष्णैक शरण अकाम अनीह स्थिर विजित सद्गुण मीत भुक अप्रमत्त मानद अमानी गंभीर करुणा मैत्र कवि दक्ष मौनी. The devotees are always merciful, humble, truthful, equal to all, faultless, magnanimous, mild, and clean. They are without material possessions and they perform welfare work for everyone. They are peaceful, surrendered to Krishna, and desireless. They are indifferent to material acquisition and are fixed in devotional service. They completely control the six-bed qualities: lust, anger, greed, and so forth. They eat only as much required, and they are not inebriated. They are respectful, grave, compassionate, and without false prestige. They are friendly, poetic, expert, and silent. This is in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Leela, 22nd chapter, 78, 79, and 83 verses are there. And Sasrup Maharaj wrote the book on 26 qualities of a pure devotee. Of these 26 qualities, one is principal, surrender to Krishna, Krishnaika Sharana. All others are secondary. Surrender to Krishna is both the root and the rain shower that sustains and nourishes all other qualities. And the presence of surrender to Krishna, qualities such as humility, truthfulness, and equanimity thrive. In its absence, they shrivel. Devotees should not be surprised then when they see secondary qualities present in non-devotees, and they should especially not be critical of the absence of such qualities in neophyte devotees. This mentality is offensive to Vaishnavas. Avoiding.
I keep getting reminders from Devika and Prabhupada.
Huh?
I'm getting reminders from Devika and Prabhupada.
What is that?
Very much it's time to go on the other class.
Okay. Devotees should not be surprised when they see the secondary qualities present in non-devotees. And they should especially not be critical of the absence of such qualities in neophyte devotees. This mentality is offensive to Vaishnavas. Avoiding the company of non-devotees as if it were poison, one who takes shelter of pure Vaishnavas become the beneficiary of the moon rays of their transcendental qualities. The king of these qualities, the surrender to Krishna, then illuminates the heart, and one bows at the lotus feet of the Lord and says, I am yours. Krishna is very kind and affectionate towards his devotees. He reciprocates in kind with the surrender of his servants, fulfills their desires for pure devotion, and makes them forget their attraction to the material life. In this way, Krishna accepts the fully surrendered servant as confidential associate, Atma-sama, and awakens good fortune on the horizon of their endless wanderings. In conclusion, as Vaishnava advances through the stages of devotion, they are either neophyte, intermediate, or advanced. Pure devotees who labor under the bodily concept of life and who practice unsteady devotion are known as neophytes. Devotees who are fixed in philosophical understanding and who have steady devotion, taste, and attachment are known as intermediates, and devotees who have spiritual vision are known as advanced or transcendentalists. So, I would like to stop here. Okay, I give you 5 minutes to reflect 26 qualities of a pure devotee. Many times I say that we see such qualities also in Mayavadi sannyasis. But what is the difference? Can somebody answer?
Krishna Aika Sharanam is missing.
Yes, good. Resolute shelter to the lotus feet of the Lord is not there. So, it's like associating with such people who are not surrendered to Krishna and yet show external some qualifications of this 26 kind. It's like considered to be Mani Ratnam on the head of a serpent. Three minutes more. Hello.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. Maharaj, earlier in the part,
Aniha.
I liked the section where he talks, Maharaj talks about how the Mahabhagavatas does not mean that they are holding the form of the Lord, but they are always earning to see the form of the Lord. And they are connecting the Lord to everything that they see. They are not transforming that position. That clearly explains the difference between those people who generally ask the question to senior devotees that have you actually seen Krishna? Maharaj very nicely explained that
Yes,
in that
yes,
section.
definitely. But Srila Prabhupada was Mahabhagavat. There are two incidences, it's quoted well, that some outsider, asked Srila Prabhupada, have you seen Krishna? Prabhupada told him, why should I say to you? Why should I tell you? Do you know Krishna then? But one time a devotee is asked, Prabhupada, are you seeing Krishna all the time? And Srila Prabhupada said, yes. So, seeing doesn't mean only through these eyes. Premanjana churita sadaiva vilokayanti. But if that could have been a neophyte devotee, he would have to take time, how Prabhupada sees through the eyes anointed with love. So like that. All right. Srila
Thank you.
Prabhupada ki
Jai.
jai.